Today was Anish Giri's 27th birthday, and in the Goldmoney Asian Rapid he got a very special birthday present from Adhiban Bhaskaran, his friend and colleague. 1b3. Adhiban likes to style himself as a b3 cowboy and goes out on a limb with this move now and again. It's a wind-up, really. He's saying to Giri, okay, I can beat you with this. I'm not going to go e4, d4, c4, whatever. I can even beat you with 1b3. Special birthday present. Of course, b3 is not bad at all, and often leads to pretty standard positions, actually, as in this game. In fact, it quickly transposes to a pretty standard reti system, or a reversed London system. There we go, the double fianchetto and pawn to e4. So this is exactly a reversed London system, basically. If pawn takes pawn, then white recovers the pawn with knight e5. Of course, that pawn is pinned. If pawn takes pawn, bishop takes b7. So castles and queen e2. So known position, pretty normal, fine for both sides. a5 from Giri. This already puts a question to white. Should you simply allow this pawn to advance? Do you block it with a4, or do you kind of contain it with a3? Not an easy question to answer. If a4, that gives this knight a potential square on b4. I don't think we want to allow a4 because, well, that gives black options then. So a3 looks pretty reasonable from Adhiban. a4 and b4 and now c5. So in this way, Giri is managing to open up the queen side. Very reasonable way of playing. And here b5 is pretty ambitious. You're taking away the squares from this knight, and maybe you're going to go with a full clamp with c4. So that's why Giri played pawn to c4 himself. Now here one could simply castle kingside, but well, Adhiban really likes these kind of non-standard positions. He likes to embrace complications. Probably a good strategy against Giri, who likes more order in his positions. He has a more formal style. Rook d1. Bishop f6, so I think good play by Giri. This looks absolutely fine. So if bishop takes, well, one can choose between queen takes or knight takes. Looks fine. But Adhiban goes for complications. Knight takes. And now it's possible just to recapture here, but instead bishop takes b2, and now things get really crazy because Giri has seen that he can take this pawn on a3, but Adhiban crashes through the middle. So watch out, there's a pin on the d file, rook d1 or is looking like a threat. Therefore queen e7, attacking the knight. And that pawn is also attacked. So looks as though things are turning black's way. Knight fd2 defends the knight. Bishop takes a3. Now we can see that advanced pawn looking pretty good. If that bishop can just shift out of the way, then that pawn is an express train. So what is going on? Knight c4. White piece is sort of wandering around in the middle. Are they dangerous? Are they targets? Really hard to say. Bishop takes knight is an interesting option in order to play this position. That's possible. After this, and knight takes bishop. That could be a dangerous pass pawn, but white still has chances there. Giri, I think understandably, wanted to just keep his powder dry for the moment. Bishop looks good hitting the knight, and just shifted the bishop out of the way. And now a surprising little move from Adhiban. Pawn to c3. It's getting really, really messy. Obviously that pawn can't be taken because of knight takes bishop. What about bishop takes knight? Well, here, I was commentating on this live and it's very hard to work out what was going on here. But knight f6 hits this one. We reached this position in the commentary, and I felt that white should be all right here in spite of that pawn, because this knight can come in here, the rook has potential to come in here. I think it's more difficult for black to play than white, actually. In any case, Giri played bishop a5. And here in the commentary, I thought that knight d6 looked like it was worth a try. And then I thought that after f5, there's a pin here, but I thought that white was actually fine after this move. In fact, this is just a blunder, it turns out. If king here, the knight moves, and then here's the point. Knight b6 actually forks queen and rook. Easy to miss with this jumble of pieces and strange tactics. Rook d1 is a decent move according to my computer, but anything could happen. Adhiban went for b6, another really strange move. So now that bishop is attacked on a5. And here, well, it's still okay for both sides. It seems the computer would like me to take here and play rook e8 and thinks that black should be okay, but white's okay there as well. But here, Giri went for it. He was tempted by the win of material with f5. This move, like in the previous variation, is either very good or very bad. If it all works, then black is going to win material because of this pin. However, if it goes wrong, then the king is open on this diagonal. It also opens the 7th rank, and it also shuts off that bishop. So this has to work, but it doesn't. In fact, there's more than one good move here. Rook takes d7, followed by knight c5. It's a nice exchange stack, and actually this is looking great for white. Black is in some trouble there after this knight here. I mean, this is ridiculously complicated, of course. A queen check coming. This rook is on. But what Adhiban played was actually far more understandable. That's really messy. That's a real computer continuation. What he played was knight f6. Again, it's the kind of move really easy to overlook in this messy position. Of course, knight takes knight will be met by queen takes queen. So queen takes knight and rook takes. So basically it's just been a trade of pieces. But suddenly things have spun round because that rook is on the 7th. The b pawn is vulnerable. This knight is looking good, hitting the bishop. Also defending that pawn. I should mention, if in this position bishop takes pawn, then I think just rook d6, and then hits the queen, hits the bishop as well. So in this position, queen takes c3 played. Bishop takes pawn. That's a huge pass pawn on b6. Rook b8. Knight takes bishop. Queen takes. And now white turns towards the king. I told you, if it goes wrong, then black is in trouble on the 7th rank. And watch what happens. Total domination of the center. Queen g7, mate threatened. Rook g8. Now rook number 2 comes over. This is really nasty. Well spotted by Adhiban. Important tactics. If rook takes pawn, rook takes g7, white crashes through, and rook c8, and rook g8, and mate next move. So in this position, obviously the rook wants to come down to the 7th rank. For example, queen takes b6, bishop takes rook. That one was hanging as well. Rook takes, So now Adhiban is the exchange up, but more than that, there is just too much pressure on the pawn on g7. And look at that bishop. A hapless piece on h7, which Giri tries, well, he tries one last trick basically. f4, he's trying to bring this bishop into the game. But Adhiban has worked out the tactics. Rook takes pawn. Queen b1 check. Now a last desperate stab. f3, trying to flush that king out into the middle. And in fact, yeah, there's a fascinating trick here. Maybe it doesn't even work actually. I'm just realizing. Okay, he played king h3 here, which is absolutely decisive. Yeah, it looks like this is winning anyway, but okay, this could be tricky. No, not even this works. Here, takes here, and actually white is winning the king and pawn endgame there as well. All right, that's another story. Anyway, after f3 check, I might have gotten something wrong there, but anyway, king h3 is absolutely clear. Because after this, well, the checks are running out. If queen f1 check, the king steps up to h4, it's safe. And here, queen f5, this is quite important. King h4 is good enough. g4 is winning. And this was basically the end of the game. Because after queen takes queen, rook takes bishop mate. Well calculated by Adhiban. Not so complicated, the line isn't very deep. But anyway, there you go. That's what can happen when you play 1b3. Unfortunately, the tournament didn't go so well for Adhiban. He didn't make the cut. So the top 8 went through, the bottom 8 went out. And Giri just snuck home. He got it on the tiebreak rules, but he is into the knockout stage. The final 8. So we have quarterfinals tomorrow. That's Tuesday, if you're watching this at a different time. So do join me for live commentary on Chess 24 with Tanya Sachdev. It's great fun. Thanks for watching.